boy.
Hello, here we are.
Hello. Oh, we're here?
I guess so. I don't know. Do you?
Cool.
I still don't know. Do you just if you don't play the song, we just don't have the song, or you
I'll be putting it in at the
you
end.
add it later? Okay.
I do.
Yeah. Well, it's not like we have pre-production meetings or anything. So
No, hell no. Why would we? That wouldn't fit.
They're the liberal rednecks. They like cornbread, but sex they care way too much, but don't give a fuck. They're the liberal rednecks that makes some people upset, but they got 3 big old dicks that you can suck.
Do y'all know what synthwave is?
The type of music.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's not when they play a theremin, but that's what I thought it was for a while.
It's like I feel like the biggest song of the genre, and it's fucking 15 years old now. It kind of kicked it all off. But do you know the song "Night Call" by Kavinsky? Do you know that song?
I don't.
Yeah,
I'm sure that I've heard it.
It's from the.
It's also one of the
remember
most.
that movie Drive? With
I was
Ryan,
about to say, is it the song from Drive? Yeah. As soon as that started clicking,
Drive
I know
with
that.
Ryan Gosling.
That song rules.
The whole soundtrack of that movie is synthwave,
them.
and that kicked off sort of the popularity of the genre or whatever. But
It also is heavily influential on a lot of current EDM artists, Kaminsky specifically.
Sure. Yeah, I
it's
mean,
like-
to the untrained papaw, I would be like, "Oh, that's the same shit, ain't it?" But I know it's not.
it's it's got like a 80s fucking Blade Runner type feel.
That's
to
what
it.
I think of as Blade Runner or Tron.
Yeah, I saw somebody about one of my faves. There's this band. Well, I really just listened to their one debut album. I should check out their other albums. They're called Gunship.
Mm-hmm.
Gunship.
Hell yeah, that's 2 things that hit.
Yeah, and I saw somebody describe their music. It said every Gunship song sounds like, or every Gunship song is in slow motion and on fire, but also it's raining.
Yeah.
And it's like, I thought that was pretty perfect. If you actually listen to them, it makes sense. But it's like
sensory
John
overload.
Carpenter movies, and just it's very 80s-y feeling and stuff. And it's
But it's dark, though, don't you think? Like, John Carpenter isn't quite as dark.
Well, they have a movie.
I was just going to say the band I saw a couple weeks ago when Bonnaroo got canceled. I think I told y'all I ended up going to see Justice as like instead this French group, and they're
hell yeah,
isn't it Justice? Sorry to be that way, but
no,
it's French.
Justice. We invented it here.
Justice. Yeah,
they aren't that, but they're heavily influenced by that.
Mm-hmm. But there's the main, I guess, sort of the main reason I bring it up. So the only ones I really fuck with are Kavinsky, Gunship, and then there's another one called The Midnight. The Midnight is a duo. One of the guys is from the Deep South, and the other guy is Danish. So that's a fun combo.
No, I don't know them. Never mind.
Yeah, but
is M85 one of them?
Oh, I don't know. I think they're like a different. They're I mean, they're bigger, but is that what? Yeah, they got that. I don't know. This isn't going well. I know who you're talking about. M83, isn't that what is that?
It might be. Could be. M85 is a type of gun.
M83, yeah, Midnight City. They have a song called Midnight City that's like fucking fire. But anyway,
it was in something recently because I just looked it up.
They're also French. This is synth pop. Okay, and
Yeah.
I think synth pop and electronic, and then synthwave. Is that what you called it?
Yeah.
It's kind of like being like if 2 idiots were discussing whether or not Led Zeppelin was the blues, and like if you were dumb, you could make an argument one way or the other without knowing the truth. I think that's what's going on with M83 and probably Justice. They're not synthwave; they just kind of are.
So
sorry.
That band, The Midnight, that's synthwave, that hits for me. They have a band motto, which I just read earlier. I was listening to them on Spotify, and I looked at the About the Artist, the bio section, and they just had their motto listed. It's a Japanese phrase. You know, like the Germans got all those phrases that mean stuff that,
yeah,
or words
Schadenfreude and
stuff like that. Well, I guess the Japanese have some of those too, because they have a Japanese phrase. Apparently, it goes "Mono no aware." Right, which is
come on, do it right.
Mono no harare. Mono no aware. Yeah. A Japanese phrase that loosely translates to, quote, a sense of nostalgic wistfulness and the awareness that nothing lasts forever.
Oh man, I
The,
get that
the
a
knowledge
lot.
of the impermanence of time.
This is gonna sound ridiculous, but I get that from their music, dude. They have
Yeah,
that
no, I do too.
soundtracky. They have that
I agree
soundtracky
completely.
vibe where you're like, I felt this way before, but in a different life, maybe.
Yeah, and
That's
you see it in
exactly
3
right.
acts.
No, I agree. If you're familiar, I agree. They picked a good. I don't even know how you do that, but their music does actually evoke that feeling, but also that just that general feeling. I think maybe that's why the music also hits for me, is because I just be feeling like that all the time. But
Yup.
they got a song called Los Angeles that's very explicitly that way.
Yeah.
I feel like
That was on Days of Thunder, wasn't it?
what the Tom Cruise movie.
No, I think that's the name of one of their albums, which hits for me.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The fact that music can make us feel all sorts of different ways, just sounds can make you feel all sorts of different ways, you know.
Have
Sort of feels
have
like
you
I'm getting
ever,
snake charmed by God or something.
yes, I agree. It's the closest thing to believing in like a real active God that I come is like the way music does. Have you ever heard anyone like with a lot of training speak on that type of stuff?
Like
Well,
the
The sort
vibrations
of
of music and how it affects the
psychology,
mood.
the neuroscience, whatever their expertise is. It's very interesting because it's almost like the deeper they go, the more questions are raised. Because you could hear him say like, so what you just talked about, Trae, and I'm gonna butcher this, but I feel like I know I've heard a guy talk about it, and he was talking about the way keys work and minor chords and how you can put this sequence together and it evokes a sense of nostalgia. So it's like you said, I don't know how they do that. Well, that's how they did it, but what the fuck does that mean? Like
Right,
that, you still
right.
didn't really tell me how they did it. You know, it was like it's like somebody went out there and did 4 dance move and it made a ball of light appear. You'd be like, well, that's how you do it. I still don't know anything about what just happened,
Well, also
and
chicken
that's
or
where it
egg.
just like blows my mind.
Chicken or egg. Like, do you think the first musicians were like the first people that created that sound were like, I'm going to attempt to make the sound of something sad, or they just did it and they were like, God damn, that's sad, so that we decided that's the sad one.
Look,
Well,
man, if you're really truly asking me, I think that music exists. It's almost like consciousness has become for me, where I think these things exist and you don't create them, you go find them.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's almost godlike to me. I think that someone figured out that makes us feel that way, but I think it's innate within us, which is
Mm-hmm.
crazy, and I almost don't believe it as I say it.
No, but it's true. Like, it's 100% true. Like, dude,
Whales
explosions
sing,
in the
and
sky
they
has
sing
made
different
me
when they're
cry.
sad.
I was just about to bring them up.
Explosion in the sky has made me cry more than songs with words in them that was sad. You know what I mean?
I was just about to bring them up. You said chicken or egg thing a minute ago. I was just about to say, like speaking of that, like, how is it possible that explosions in the sky with no lyrics
None.
whatsoever, like, just using music make me, take me right back to like high school or whatever,
It's
or make me feel
crazy.
this sense of nostalgia and shit. And even specifically about like high school football. And of course they were the
Friday Night
soundtrack to
Lights.
Friday Night Lights, but it's like that still
Because
is
they
like,
nailed it.
Did they, right, exactly.
It's
That's what
'cause they
that's what I was
fucking
about
nailed
to
it,
say.
dude.
Like, if that, right. Even that doesn't fully, it's like, how did they do that? How did they make something that so
Exists.
perfectly suits that's like, again, there's no words.
It's
There's
painting with sounds. It's fucking crazy, dog.
Well, yeah,
Right.
it's evoking a feeling that they feel. They're communicating it with you. And there was this guy who did this
This why
TED
we
Talk.
can talk to dolphins right here, by the
Oh
way.
yeah, dude. There was this guy who did this TED Talk, and he opened with he did a pentatonic scale. I can't sing, I won't do it, but he went nah nah nah, and he kind of like gestured to the crowd, and they all hit the note.
Of course.
And he goes, it was the question you guys are asking. He goes, why do we all know to do that? Is it because we've heard that scale before, or is it something else? And then he brought up some study where like babies and people in different cultures where they have slightly different scales, they're also hitting the note.
Right. Yeah.
That's fucking mind blowing, dude.
Yeah. It is. It is.
I love thinking about it. Explosion in the Sky was in Knoxville this year, Trae, but they were at that Big Ears Festival, and tickets are $400, and it is Explosion in the Sky was probably the biggest act there. It is sort of by its own admission a weird sonic festival. They have like throat singers, they'll have somebody you've
Wow.
heard of, but it's their off project. They're doing DJ shit. And I wanted to go, but it was like $400. And to me, 400 was worth it, but 800 wasn't. I knew Andy was
Yeah.
gonna have to go too. I've always wanted to go to that festival for this reason. I want to like. It's also, Jesus. It's also like, sorry, I don't know how I got a phone call on this computer that slated me. Oh, you can talk to them. It's one of those festivals where they just like hang out after because none of them are famous. I've always wanted to go to the festival and just find these Juilliard or Boston Conservatory trained out there people and be like, hey man, how come babies know music?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I want somebody to ask Jordan Peterson that when he's on the verge of tears.
I was going to say, honestly, the dude's one talent is that he is good with words. That thing he said about can a plastic bottle not be a cathedral or whatever, it's like, it's so funny.
Is that like where two or more are gathered in his name, it's church type thing that he was trying to say there?
He was basically saying like God's everywhere if you're willing to look.
Yeah.
And then he like picks up a glass bottle and he's got tears in his eyes and he's like, but I'm gonna make it sound silly, and it was, but his words were really beautiful. It was like, you know, it was like, is God not in the children's eyes? Is this glass bottle not a cathedral?
Yeah. I mean, it's not bad, but knowing it's him.
But also, I mean, no. How? Sorry, y'all know I'm the godless one, but like, how?
Let me find the quote before we get too far. I'm gonna find the quote first. But a cathedral is man-made, so even if you don't believe in God, you can make an argument as an atheist that a glass
What is
bottle
this? A cathedral for ants?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I fucked up the quote. There were two separate quotes. The cathedral one is simply
he was pointing at a cathedral when he said it.
No, it says there are cathedrals everywhere for those with the eyes to see. But what got him, you know, the front page of Reddit for it is this was what picture he put with it. For those just listening, it's an Evian plastic bottle.
That sounds like a line from a Twilight movie. A bit.
If it was like, I don't, you know, if it, I just like a cathedral, you know, isn't that a place where you like where people
gather?
I don't know, come together to worship and appreciate something greater than themselves. Like you know, if we were all in a studio together, or like a cathedral of the mind or something like that.
Yeah, but in this situation, we're in a bottle.
A plastic bottle.
Evian,
I mean, if we could get in there, you know.
If it was like, can this bottle not be, you know, inspiration or something like that? I'd be like, yeah, sure, it can.
Honestly,
You're some kind of Andy Warhol type queer, it can be. But
honestly, if it was this glass Coke bottle, this tiny one, I would be like, all right, well, this is like maybe a monument both to the triumph,
a monument, an icon, something like that. I would be like, sure, an idol, like any of those words. I'd be like, right, okay.
But those don't apply to the Evian bottles. What's funny about that, Trae? That's not an iconic bottle. If you'd asked me before I looked at that picture what the Evian bottle looks like, I might have got the mountains right. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I still just wish I knew more what he meant. I was about to say,
all that playing out where Brew was like, this is kind of beautiful. And we're all just like, man, that is beautiful. The vibration. And he kind of said a beautiful thing. Like we were talking about one of our political foes and we're just like, yeah, man, he said a beautiful thing. And Trae comes in with the, well, actually, that can't be a cathedral. And you're fucking right. That was so funny.
Just genuine, you know, curiosity. And I mean, I have seen obviously clips made by people that are biased, you know, because he talk all the time, obviously, and
he stays crying.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. You can make a montage of him crying. You can make a montage of him being genuinely, deeply profound. But I've also seen montages of him saying like just goofy shit. You know what I mean?
Goofy shit, dude.
I feel like Peterson came out.
What the word is.
Yeah. I feel like so. You know.
I feel like over the past couple years, he came on the scene super hard. And it feels like he's like a dude who work their whole life on that first hour. You know what I mean? And then after he's done with the first hour, his new shit sucked because he ain't got nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah, he wrote a self-help novel that was like, hey, pull up your pants and clean your room. And our dads were like, we've been saying it. We've been saying it, dude.
Bill
This
Cosby
guy
been
rules.
saying it.
And then he goes, oh, those are my fans, the dads? I know what else they've been saying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's definitely the queerest person to act like he ain't queer. You know what I mean? Like,
Buddy, I give my
acting
dad
all
shit
Trumpy or whatever, but he's
all
always
the time.
crying
My
wearing
dad
a nice
Dude,
suit.
there's a lot of them that are.
One time.
Ben Shapiro is.
Yeah, you're right.
They're
You
turning
know.
on him.
Tucker Carlson.
They're all turning on everybody, y'all. It's crazy as fuck to see. I mean, listen, they'll reconvene at the convention. I promise you that. There'll be a strong front.
I don't know,
Fucking
brother.
Nick Fuentes. There's so many of them that are what you just said. The queerest
He's
person to act
literally
like they ain't
gay.
queer.
Yeah, actually, you know what? You're right.
Almost all of them.
Honestly, yeah.
right.
What's his face? The who's the fat faced little fucking kid? I mean, I know I am too. The other one, the kid, the one who shot them folks and then went on the
Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse.
he's the cryingest bitch of them all, and
Yeah.
he's got to take the cake.
Well, he's
I think
also too
he
stupid
did
even for
take the
them.
cake.
Like,
Yeah, right.
they kicked him out.
They don't
They
hit for
tried to
them
pay
anymore.
him to talk for a while, and even they were like, God damn.
Dude, there would have been so much. It would have hit so much harder for them if he had have also died during that. That
I
would
was
have worked
about
out.
to say that. What a hero they would have had. But they'd have been writing fake speeches and saying he wrote them for his communications class and shit.
And that's the problem with all their fucking heroes and why they're always turning on each other. Because again, they'll come in with a tight 10 one week of like some pro-Trump shit, you know, and they'll be like, "Woo, we love this person," and then that's all the steam they get. Now they got to say their own words, and they just go,
Bobert,
"Da, da."
dude.
Yeah,
Bobert.
dude.
They were like, oh, man, this hot chick saying stuff I like. And then they kept giving her the mic, and then she tried to jack it off.
Yeah. Because again, you did, but yeah. What came of that? Was there any like actual like she for
Not
real?
him, buddy. It was over the pants, and the movie wasn't long enough.
It was a play, wasn't it?
Beetlejuice. It was
Makes it
Beetlejuice.
more racist.
It was,
Among Us.
it was Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
It was Beetlejuice. I mean, I get it in the "Hey, Mr. Tallyman, pick up your banana" or whatever. Like
he
if they
must
were,
have said it, and then he gets to come 3 times, right?
that song does make me want to come, but like not in a theater among people. I'm a Christian, you know.
God, I want to come in a theater among people. I don't know, dude. Bobert's definitely one of those. This is so toxic. Definitely one of those, though. The more she talks, the more I'm like, God, I bet it is fun.
Oh, dude, you know it
There
is,
ain't no way she says the word no.
dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hell
she's
yeah.
Wild and dumb and crazy as hell. That's always.
That character in Wedding Crashers becomes
Isla
Vince Vaughn's
Fisher?
wife.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I know. I'm like, shoot, man. She can put me on any list. Hey, Drew, you ever get jacked off at church? I don't know why
Yeah,
this
dude.
thing-
I lost my virginity on
Yeah.
Easter Sunday.
Yeah, getting jacked off at church hit.
It does, dude. Been
Even
one
I
over
did,
the
but
pews.
the church wasn't in session.
You went there, yeah, right, yeah. Well, yeah. I've done that too.
Yeah.
It's funny to think about
Like,
Trae
I've
just
done
going
it
and
at
jacking
church.
off on a church.
It was
Lock in.
I didn't. It was a. I was with a girl. It was a oral situation.
Yeah. Me too.
She then expelled it all onto the side of the church, and I was ready to go again right then. You know,
Hell
I
yeah.
was like, like it did hit for me. Don't get me wrong. I was like, God damn, you are a godless whore. Fucking this-
Oh man,
I appreciate
Ooh,
that.
those were fun days.
Yeah.
You hit a
Yeah.
little bit of a preacher there, and she is
Yeah.
God. And
Oh,
the
my
seed
God.
hath spilled, and the Lord saw what we have done, and He was displeased. Spank me, Daddy, spank me.
I gotta tell
have
y'all.
done it when some version of church was in session, like at a fucking lock-in type situation,
Yeah, we had a balcony.
or like you sneak away from fifth quarter after the football game, but you're still in the church. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Why not? You know.
Yeah, this room in here is all carpeted. Like, why
Yeah.
go to the car? You can just
great.
lay down under here. Feel
Yeah.
the spirit.
I got to tell y'all about this encounter I had with a papaw
Mm-hmm.
while I was out in the park. So,
Parking with papaws. I'd watch it.
I was thinking the whole time, I was like, God, if I was somehow being pranked right now, or like this was on TV, my face had to have been fucking priceless. So anyways, I get out to the park, I open my car door, I see this old papaw standing there and just staring near a tree. And I'm like, hey, how you doing? And then he goes, hey, come here. And I was like, okay. And he goes, this yours right here? And I was like, and I looked, and it's a dog bowl. There's a dog bowl leaning against a tree. And I said, oh, no, not mine. I said, I guess somebody's out in the woods with their dog, or they forgot it. I said, I think it was here yesterday, And with old people, like, I always think, and I don't want to be this way because I don't like to be prejudiced, but if I meet an old man in the South, I assume I'm about 0.8 seconds from him about to ask me my opinion on something, or just flagrantly declaim his. Proclaim his, right? His? Yeah, proclaim his. Because dude, they'll turn anything into politics. I'm like, but as long as I don't bring it up, or racism. I'm like, as long as I don't bring it up, it'll be fine.
Or the Lord.
Any of those things. And it don't happen every time, but it has happened enough to why it makes me feel that it might happen again, And so, anyways, I go, no, it's not mine. I guess some owner has their dog out here. And he goes, huh. And I said, what? Or something. And he goes, it's just, this ain't as bad as it used to be. And I was like, what? Like, I didn't know what the fuck he meant. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, well, I'm not prejudiced. And like, as DJ used to have that bit, which was, anything that comes after I'm not a racist but is about to be the most racist shit you've ever heard. And it's always true. He said, I don't mean to be prejudiced, but do you not remember about 2-3 years ago when the goddamn Mexicans found out about this fucking park? And I'm like, what? Like, what? And he goes, oh, yeah, all them Mexicans come out here. It was worse than dog bowls. He's like, they had brand new lawn chairs, brand new coolers. They just leave them out there, tags and stuff still on them. All these Mexicans. And I go, man, that seems like it'd be pretty sweet, like to find a, like a lawn chair or like a cooler. And he's just like, yeah, but they just leave them. I said, why would they leave? Why would they leave new stuff? He goes, because they can just go steal some more. And again, this is the man who said, I'm not prejudiced, but he goes, because, well, hell, either they can go steal some more, or I don't know, probably the government gives them to them or whatever. The government gives them the money. Yeah,
government's got a free cooler of fucking Coronas. Yeah, for any
clunkers for
any
chunkers
family. Yeah, you can go down to the government office. They give you a lawn chair and some sandals and a 6-pack of Coronas. Fucking
yeah, and he's just sitting there talking about all these Mexicans just throw this brand new equipment, fucking shit everywhere, and he's so mad. And he said that about them getting the government to buy him coolers. He goes, you know what? This is what he fucking vaulted on and stuck the landing. He goes, you know what? It's took me 75 years to get my Social Security. They get it in 6 months. Like they get it in 6 months, and I just go, all right, sir, have a good day. And because I'm not converting a person there in the parking lot, nor do I want to try to. But it was so Raven, man.
Implying that Mexicans in particular are like lazy welfare queens or whatever.
Right.
It's truly wild.
It's
when
insane.
The narrative for so long, of course, was they take our jobs. Right. It's like, you could say,
and then they won't do them.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But that's like, if you just want to be baldly racist and just say, that they steal or they're criminals or whatever, which is obviously all bullshit, but like calling them lazy is just,
yeah, man,
just intellectually dishonest.
Tim Wilson,
it's like it goes against that's the one thing that I don't know, that everyone should acknowledge about them, even if they do hate them for stupid, unfounded reasons. Dude, I would think.
And we did used to acknowledge it like that. Like, all these same people have always said that. Like, when I was a kid, dude, that was the stereotype, was that they work really fucking hard. Because, dude, Tim Wilson had this bit, and it murdered, and it only would if we all believe that, where he was talking about, he goes, Mexicans ain't stealing your damn job. They just don't watch 4 days of fucking NASCAR. And he was talking about all these construction workers. He goes, goddamn, he goes, you go to Daytona, you got to get there on Tuesday to get your spot for Wednesday, and then there's the whatever. And he goes, you're down there a goddamn week. And he goes, the Mexican ain't taking your job. He just don't give a fuck about Greg Biffle. I remember he used Greg Biffle as the example, and it murdered because they were all like, yeah, Mexicans are just out there working their ass off.
Yeah.
I've heard the crime stereotype being pushed, and I assumed about immigrants and they're all dangerous and they're going to rape our kids. I assumed that was because the lazy thing wouldn't stick. I
Right.
assumed always that was an escalation because most people were going, nah, I don't think these immigrants are stealing my job. I don't think I want it. And they go, well, no, I didn't say job. I said your son. They're stealing our kids.
Right,
And then they go,
right.
oh, shit. So, I mean, I'm not surprised if it is starting to take that turn. But around here anyway, they're still like, we can't let them in because they're going to murder us because they're in gangs, or they're going to outwork us. There's like almost a tacit acknowledgement of the lack of laziness. Like, yeah, we can't compete with that, dude.
Right.
It's like Indians in a math contest. You can't let these Mexicans in here if we're trying to get backhoe jobs.
Of course.
Yeah, well, and that's fair enough, frankly.
It's logical.
Yeah.
Like, you're racist, but at least it's logical racism.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I just don't know I don't know. I don't know who they think is doing all the, they have to see Mexicans doing all these jobs, well, maybe not in like tiny towns like that, but like, who's doing all the farm work and and building all the shit and all this stuff that happens in this country that hits. Like, I mean, it already happened years ago. Alabama in particular passed a very draconian immigration law that all the immigrants like fled in fear just because they could go to other states and be okay. Unlike now, the whole country's doing it. But then it was just so they left Alabama, and then that fall, Alabama had like a disastrous harvest where they lost like 80% of their crops, and it was a big problem because they didn't have nobody to do that. So much of that shit depends on the exploitation of cheap labor, which has been like true since the dawn of mankind, essentially. And then but at the same time, they want to vilify them and kick them out, send them to, ship them off overseas. And I don't know how they think. They don't understand that things have to actually be done by actual people and shit like that. Like, I think they just think that everything that just hits just happens.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Roads.
Yeah.
It just is the way that it is.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's what's road, or it's like this whole situation in tech, like all the cuts to like the National Weather Service and stuff like that. They're always like, hell, who gives what is a hydrologist? Why my tax dollars going to pay for a hydrologist or whatever? And it's like, I mean, these are actual things.
Why would we need an emergency disaster team? We never have an emergency here. Well, that's that's why it's like the fucking plane coming back with the red dots and shit on it. You know what I mean? It's like, things are the reason you don't know about this thing is because shit was working efficiently. Like, you know what I mean? That was how it ought to been. Like, that's a good expense.
Yeah. Well, speaking of working efficiently, it's hard to do sometimes, fellas. It's hard to be efficient with the money you spend in particular. A lot of people don't even know how much money they spend each and every month. I'm one of those people. It's hard to keep up. Everything's gotten so fragmented now. You got all these different services and apps and all these
dumb.
Yes, that too. But all these different things you just pay a little bit for, and it don't seem so bad, but they add up, and then you forget about them. Like, I bet most people listening don't even really know how much they pay, how many subscription services they even have right now, or how much they spend on them per month, or how much they spend on takeout or delivery. Again, I know I don't. I guarantee you it's more than you think and I think, but there's an app designed to help you manage your money better. It's this week's sponsor. We're talking about Rocket Money. That's right. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money shows you all your expenses in one place, including subscriptions you forgot about. If you see a subscription you don't want anymore, Rocket Money will help you cancel it. If you've got a goal you'd like to save for, Rocket Money can analyze your accounts to find the best time each month to try to put extra money aside. This is pretty cool. Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lower bills on your behalf. The app automatically scans your bills to find opportunities to save and then goes to work to get you better deals. They'll even talk to customer service for you so you don't have to. Shoo-wee, what an upside that is. They don't hit for nobody.
Heard
Well, they'll
that.
take care of it for you. Rocket Money's 5 million members have saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, with members saving up to $740 a year when they use all of the app's premium features. We got Rocket Money. We tried it out. I knew there'd be a ton of things, but I was still kind of shocked by it. The one that was the most egregious, I think I've said this before, but it's true. But long ago, I paid money, like more money than you should pay, period. But I paid it per year, renewing a renewing figure for an app where I could like put Drew and Corey's face onto comedic memes and gifs from the internet.
It's so wild how fast
obviously
technology
moves. Yeah, this is obviously worth $50 a year. Put Corey on a cartoon pig's face or whatever, and
it
for
was
a
funny.
while,
Yeah,
right? Yes,
nothing wrong with that. Every now and then,
for a while,
we grow.
It was worth it. I didn't regret it at all initially, but then, it became old hat. I got tired of even doing it. I forgot it even existed, but it continued to come out of my account automatically for like 2 years after that. So Rocket Money reminded me how stupid I've been in that particular instance, but also not just that, but other, like I had like 3 different music services I was using without meaning to. There was like a streaming service that I'd forgot they even existed anymore, and various other things that I was paying for that Rocket Money reminded me of and helped me cancel and save me some money, which I appreciate. So cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/WellRED today. That's rocketmoney.com/WellRED. rocketmoney.com/WellRED. Give it a go. Rocket Money.
I subscribe to Long John Silver's Plus.
Nice. Huh. What do you get for that? Bag of those cracklins, or
they pour them on your head.
What do you call those?
Like
crunchies?
I always called them cracklins. They call them crunchies now. But no, when you're a Long John Silver's Plus member, every time you order, they dump the cracklins over you in a Gatorade tub like you've just won the fish parade. I can't talk. I'm stuttering.
That's definitely worth something a year. I don't know how much it costs to do Long John Silver's Plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I pay $30 a month for that.
Cracklins.
I'd want the hat too.
Yeah.
Cracklins are an actual separate thing, though.
You can order them separate. Yeah.
No, that ain't what I mean. I mean,
he's saying cracklins is a thing you can.
That people make. Like pork cracklins and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm just telling you, I used to call them cracklins when I was a kid. That's it. But yeah, pork cracklins hit.
Yeah. But those little. It's just like just like the extra batter that also gets fried. Batter.
Yeah, and it goes so hard.
Yeah,
God.
Does it? I fried fish just last night for fish tacos. Had some
barramundi, the hot new fish.
It was actually tilapia.
The hot old fish.
The hot old fish, yes, but it's still.
That was that old.
I'm gonna tell my wife that next time
Speaking
I see her.
Speaking of the Asians earlier, having things that hit tempura batter.
Oh God, dude,
goes hard.
Man,
right?
I went too long in my life before having that. Mm-hmm. That wasn't a thing when we was kids, real big.
No, not where we're from, especially.
Hell no.
Have you had the Korean wings, Corey?
Yes.
Where?
Korea?
In general? Oh, yeah. Have I had Korean wings? Yes. I thought you said, have you had the Korean wings? And I thought it was like at a restaurant. Yes, I have.
That's a type of tempura, is it not, that they're doing there? It's like a thinner tempura. It's really something how crunchy and moist they get them.
Because most of the time when it's a thin batter, it's weak in taste.
There's actually a chain called Bonchon.
Hell
yeah. In New York.
Yes, they do. They have one in the Los Angeles area, but it's very, very far from me, unfortunately. But they have one in the Mall of America, where I was at not long ago, so I hit it up there. But Bonchon is a Korean fried chicken chain, and it's fucking fire. I'm a huge fan.
Place in LA I'll look up if you ever want to venture. Andy and I were in a different part of town. I think we went to one of those theaters, like those special theaters, to watch a movie. I don't remember what it was, but we went somewhere we didn't live in LA, and we went to this restaurant and we had squid ink pasta, those wings, and some sushi rolls. It was like a fusion spot, obviously.
Yeah, boy.
It was the best chicken wings I've ever had in my life, hands down.
I think my still best chicken wings is at what's place called Trae in
Sacramento or San Jose.
Sacramento.
Paper
Plains.
Plane, San Jose,
Woo!
San Jose, California. Paper Plane. Yes.
Ooh, I've been thinking about them wings ever since you started talking, boy.
Yeah, buddy.
I knew you were
God
going to do
damn.
it. Like that's how prevalent it is in your life. That I knew when I started talking about wings, you were going to bring them up.
Of course.
I even said San Jose because I knew.
Yeah.
I was like, I remember that.
Hey,
Caleb
y'all-
Simon was there.
Wait. Okay. Sorry,
Yes, he
I'm
was.
still just on this.
No,
Yes,
no.
Caleb Simon was there, and he's the one who remembered the place. So shout out to Caleb for actually. If he hadn't remembered what the rest, us other three didn't even remember where it was. He
Hell
was the one
no.
who recalled it and told us
Thank
the name
God.
of it, so we could go back.
I
But
used to get drunk in Northern California.
so
Hell
the
yeah.
picture
Hell
of
dogs.
the Evian water bottle,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Like he's saying it's
Oh,
it's
this
him
is what
saying
you're still back on.
yes.
Oh
that
my
the
God.
that the way the design of the bottle and the plastic, it what looks like a church
can I tell you
window,
something about him you
a
may not have known?
cathedral window.
Can I tell you
The
something
bottle
you-
itself is not a cathedral. Something in
Let me
it
tell
is
you something about
calling
him
to
you might not
mind
be
a cathedral.
Let me tell you something about him you might not be considering here, dude. Two things. One, he is good at the internet. He might have been trolling with the picture. I think he meant or thinks he meant that quote, but he might have been trolling with the picture. Two,
Oh
he's
shit!
on-
I see it.
he's on a plane.
No, I see it.
You see the cathedral in the shape?
I have the eyes to see. See, he said only for those who have the eyes to see. Thus spake the mogul Jordan
Oh my
Peterson. Well, thankfully,
God.
I've determined that I also have the eyes to see because I see it.
Oh
And I
my
see what it
God.
means now.
Show
You see
me.
it down in the
Look,
Oh,
crooks.
yeah.
look at the reflection
Yeah,
on the wall.
because the stained glass.
Joe. Yes, you
Yeah.
see that?
Yeah.
That looks like a shadow of a cathedral or whatever.
Right. I
It
mean,
does.
I knew that. I thought we were
I
okay.
think
Anyway,
though he's just saying a dumb thing.
No,
also,
that's definitely what he
hold
means.
on.
It
I
is
just
still a
really
dumb
want
thing,
to get
but-
this out, please. Can I just point this out? He is a benzo fiend, and he's on a
Right.
plane. He's on
Right.
an airplane where we're all benzo fiends. He might not remember this.
That makes
He
it
probably
more
don't.
prophetic.
When I take
And it
Xanax,
is-
I steal. Maybe
it
he
is-
writes
well-
bad poetry.
It's like being like if you were stoned and you saw a reflection through a water bottle and it looked kind of like a church silhouette or whatever you want to call it, and you were high.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
you might be
On
like,
benzos, yeah.
oh my God, you know, start acting like fucking Wes Bentley in American Beauty or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like fucking just overcome with the beauty that you see
It also
everywhere.
looks like two guys in the Klan.
Yeah, it
Uh,
does. It does look like two clan members.
Yeah. Okay. Well, see,
Talking about whether or not
You know-
Jordan Peterson's cool.
well, this is what I asked earlier because again, when you describe it, even when you showed the picture, which you just showed it to us briefly on your phone, for the record, you held
Yeah.
your phone up. The whole time I thought the bottle was a cathedral or whatever is what, and that's why I was like, what? No, you know, but
Trey's
he's
been
still
playing a
an
game
idiot.
of Wordle this whole goddamn time.
I still did you know? You didn't know?
Me? No.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
No. Dude, hell no.
Oh, I didn't know either.
I-
I was just being funny earlier. I thought that
Yeah.
was obvious. I was like, oh, I knew. I didn't know, dude. I didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. I would have told you earlier.
No, I
Okay.
Think I
think
can keep something
hell
like that to
no.
myself?
I literally thought that dumb motherfucker was just being like, we could go to church in here if we were tiny, you know, or whatever the fuck he
Right.
says. That's what I'm. Yeah, no, I didn't see
Honestly,
no
it's
goddamn.
worse for me now.
Was that Kermit
It's
or
like,
Jordan
oh, it's
Peterson?
lame shadow art, dude. I really thought you
Yeah.
were trying to get us to consider this bottle. Fuck him, dude. I hope he dies.
Fuck him. I do too. It is worse.
Yeah. It's Jaden Smithy. You know.
Oh my god.
Like, why is Jaden Smith mostly a laughing stock, right?
yeah.
You
I'm
just
so stupid. I thought Jaden Smithy was a different person. I was like, is there somebody called Jaden Smithy who's?
I'm so glad you said this because I had this written down in my notes to say, and I don't know if you'll agree with this.
About
it's
Jaden
about,
Smith?
it's about Jaden.
No, about his daddy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I like Trae. I don't have to worry about this because his kid's older. But Drew, have you thought about the day when like we're having to convince our child that there was a time when Will Smith, yes, that Will Smith was the coolest motherfucker on the planet.
Right.
You have no idea. And they're just going to be like, yeah, right. And at one point that would have been so inconceivable to me that he wouldn't just always be a badass.
Yeah, listen, it's me, and I know that about myself at this point. So I don't want this to come across like I'm doing some Bill Hicks thing, like you're pathetic and I'm the man. Like you, my wife, you two, my wife, the whole world is this way, and I'm not. And so this is like, no, I've spent no time considering any famous people ever, rich people. Kings and queens, I don't give a fuck what Princess Diana did ever. Did she have an OnlyFans? You might get me interested in that. I know how that makes me sound. I'm not claiming I'm the good guy here. So I have not spent any time thinking about convincing Roscoe that Will Smith was cool. I probably won't. If it comes up, I'll just let him see him smacking Chris Rock, and I'll tell him, hey, you see that guy? I won't say it's Chris Rock. I'll say that was Herman Cain. Will Smith slapped Herman Cain. And then it'll be over.
Now, to be fair to I thought that was going to be just about Will Smith in particular. I thought you were leading to like, fuck Will Smith. He's never hit for me, but it was a much broader thing.
No, hell no. He's always hit for me.
I meant Drew. I thought Drew was leading up to specifically Will Smith instead of just all famous people.
No, he hits for me. I just don't care what Roscoe thinks about it.
Yeah, well,
I don't fucking either. It's just,
it was
a fucking what's the phrase? It's a fucking allegory. Not an allegory. It's a goddamn hypothetical.
Yeah, it's like, but it's a lower stakes, more casual version of how the fuck am I supposed to explain to my kids that this bitch used to be a dude,
Right.
And it's like, well, you don't.
Don't worry about it. What are we doing?
Yeah, right. Like,
hey, man, that bitch used to be a dude.
Yeah, right.
And that bitch over there smacked a guy one time.
The thing is, though, with me and
then
Bane,
we go get ice cream.
It will come up one day because I'll be like drunk in the garage dancing to getting jiggy with it, and he'll be like, "Who is this?" And I'll be like, "This is Will Smith."
And
then it'll hurt my feelings that don't hit for him.
See, here's why I'm kind of skeptical that it will ever really come up, but I could be wrong.
Because he'll still be real famous and they'll know who he is.
No, the opposite. What I'm saying is, I don't think it seems to me like Will Smith. I was a kid in the 90s, so he was the man. Huge fucking fan.
Unreal.
His run from the mid 90s to the early 2000s is all-timer shit. You could argue he's been on at least something of a decline for 20 fucking years now. And now, ever since the slap, it's just been a goddamn nosedive. And this fucking album he just put out, my God. But anyway, so I'm saying
you're living it right now with Trae. You're gonna have to convince Trae before you convince your son. You gotta convince your dad.
Will Smith, I don't think he's long for this pop culture world. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Fresh Prince is gonna live on for a while.
But that's the cool version of it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're right.
The way you frame that question is it would be more like Bane would see him on Instagram rapping like present day.
Yeah.
And would be like, look at this fucking dork. And then you have to be like, I know it's hard to believe.
Yeah.
That guy used to be the coolest guy alive.
Yeah,
but I don't think it'll happen that way. I think like my kids have already seen Men in Black, Independence Day, I, Robot, I Am Legend. They know the hidden version of Will Smith.
That's true.
And they don't know what's going on with him currently. And I'm not going to.
It's up to you, Corey, to keep his fucking legacy alive through the eyes of your son.
This whole thing was just trying me to wedge in. Can we talk about the decline in Will Smith's quality? I just phrased it as that question. I'm not sitting the boy down.
Let me say this, though.
It's insane. It's
before
hard
I get
to
called
watch
out on the internet, the picture you painted in the garage, I could totally see that now. Me hammered drunk. It wouldn't be Will Smith, but there are scenarios, me hammered drunk in a garage and Roscoe comes in. What the fuck are you listening to? And I'm just glass-eyed and angry. You know what I mean?
Because what if it's Skinner and he says that?
Yeah. Let me tell you something about Ronnie Van Zant.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
But I don't think I'd care if he didn't care. Like, you know what I mean?
Really care. It would make me feel old and shit and uncool. Because the thing is, hell, them kids might see Will's like actual cool version of Will Smith, but that looks stupid as fuck to them because it's old hip hop shit. You know what I mean?
The distance will be so far, it'll circle back to cool. I mean, we're already getting the haircuts and the pants, and the rappers have lyrics again. We're in a good time for pop culture. I think it's because everything sucks.
Well, yeah, the Renaissance happened after the fucking famine or whatever.
Not for movies,
Will Smith
has been
Yeah.
Just, I mean, bumbling creatively for a while. Oh, well, I mean, the the
He won
later
an
Bad
Oscar
Boys
for The
movies
Slap, didn't he?
I'm talking about since
He
the
did
slap,
Slap.
since
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah,
night
yeah.
of the
No.
slap. But uh but the Bad Boys movies, I thought that last one I thought was fucking great. I absolutely loved it. So at least there's that.
I mean,
but
I liked Bright, and everybody said that sucked.
you know that I also loved Bright, but
Yeah.
I just give up trying to convince anybody else that hit a long time ago because that movie got raked. But I was a big fan of it.
I
That
felt
also was
dumb.
pre-slap. Look, you're right. Here's what I'm saying. He 90s to 2000s, top of the world. Matter of fact, as he famously said, North Pole got his butthole sitting on top of the world.
Yeah.
To quote the man himself.
Yeah.
And then
Cut to a bruh. See, even back then, there were signs he was gay.
no,
That's
see,
it.
I'll get back to that in a minute, or at least I'll try to. But then in the mid-aughts, up until he fucking won that Oscar finally.
Yeah.
Like up until that moment, he made a lot of bad choices. He was supposed to be Django. He fucked that up.
Neo.
Even in the 90s, he was supposed to be Neo, right? And he fucked that up. And there was another one you just sent the other day that I didn't even know about. Some other huge franchise thing that he was supposed to be that he said no to because he didn't see it.
Yeah.
And like,
it was Avatar, wasn't it?
It might have been Avatar. It was something big.
I don't
I don't know if
remember
it
who
was
was in
Avatar,
Avatar.
because he would be a blue alien for most of that.
Yeah, I don't think that one mattered. If
It wasn't,
look it up.
but anyway,
wouldn't have hurt him.
he said no to a lot of things, and a lot of things he did do, they didn't really hit. He was just kind of meandering. Then he did King Richard and got an Oscar, and that should have been the start of the Will-assance, right? Will Smith-assance.
Wasn't that the same night he smacked him?
Yes, but he slapped Chris Rock
That's
that night.
so crazy.
And
That's so
and just
Did he
since
have
then
him
he smacked Chris Rock that night, which put a spotlight on the whole weird ass situation with him and his marriage and Jada and that whole fucking wild shit.
Oh my God.
People knew about that, but after the slap, everybody knew about that. People were like, "What the fuck is up with this shit?" Then he, again, the Bad Boys movies have hit, but he hasn't really, gotten back on top cinematically, and also he's had to rehab his image. Then he tried to go back to rapping, and that has been absolutely disastrous. But like Drew just said a minute ago, I've had to reevaluate my own assessment of Will Smith as a rapper from 30 years ago, because I was 10 at the time. And it's like he was always at least a little bit corny, I think.
By the way, is the movie he turned down.
What?
Inception was the movie he turned down because he said he didn't see it. And my point was like, you just have to know it's Nolan. What do you mean? Yeah, like dog. That's why I thought it was
like
Avatar, because I remember
Christopher
being like a
Nolan.
James Cameron type. Like, you
Maybe
don't say
I
no.
don't see it means I can't do it though.
Yeah, he could have done. That's the thing. Is like he's good. He's really good.
Oh, he's really good.
He's awesome, dude.
Let's also point out. Well, I want to point out two things. One, he did also kind of try stand-up comedy. Now, he did it in a like, can you believe I'm doing this? We're going to highlight how hard it is.
I didn't
know
even
I'm
know
going
that.
to fail, so there was a safety net, and he did it like on some platform. Yes, some of our friends did sets with him.
Sam Talent was there, wasn't he? I think
so was
Sam
Dave
right.
Borey.
That's
Sam
right.
Talent and Dave Borey. It's the only project outside of their own that they've got to do together, as far as I know, outside of ones they've come up with themselves. The other thing I want to say, just in case people are, I made a reference to what's going on, but I feel like it soundbite wise, it sounded bad. There's also just this thing where black internet constantly, not all of them, but constantly are saying he's gay.
Yeah.
And like,
Which is very sad.
I don't care, whatever, one way or the other. But it is like a strange thing that the success was masking how many, those voices. Like I think there was like a legitimate homophobic hate for him, but he was so killer, it didn't matter. And then his marriage starts to fall apart and his career go downhill, and now they get to control the narrative, and they're like, everything I see these days is like him doing a dance move over and over again, and it looks kind of zesty, quote unquote. And
have you seen the rap reels? The reels he's made from
the hot girls.
Well, he's got a whole
like
album out. He's made a whole bunch of reels from various songs on the album, and dude, they're every one more cringe than the last.
Well, one of them is about how much he likes hot girls, and one of the things I keep seeing is someone being like, some joke along the lines of, "Yeah, this is what all straight dudes say over and over again at the stage." Come on, dog.
Yeah.
And then they cut to that guy.
Although
I've been delivered. I'm not gay no more.
men's
I don't like men's no more.
That guy's out and proud now. That real
Yeah,
person.
did you see the follow-up video? It was just as funny. He
It's
said,
real funny, dude.
he goes, I can't do this without sounding racist, dog. I can't.
Dude, you can do it because
He
you
said-
do it exactly right. If you do it exactly
he
how
did
it
it.
sounds.
He did a Zoom, and they were like, so, how goes it on the road to not being a queer anymore, or whatever, however they framed it. And he's like, oh, I love it. He goes, I eat them girls up like the camel noodle soup. Camel noodle soup.
Yeah.
Somebody did this remix where he's just going, camel noodle soup. Camel noodle soup.
Okay.
I don't like men's no more.
I am delivered.
Okay, but I'm saying there's been like
Delivered.
later him being like, yeah, I was lying.
That he wasn't gay, or that he went to women.
He's gay.
Yeah.
Which naturally.
Which is
But,
pretty
That'd have been wilder.
I will say, because again, massive fucking fan of Will Smith for most of my entire life. Again, I'm watching this sadly. What's been happening recently?
Me too. That's what I meant.
But I thought he went on something and did a freestyle, and it probably wasn't an actual but for the record, like, what percentage of purported freestyles are legitimately freestyle?
I'd say not a lot anymore.
Not right.
Because the bar's been set too high
I think
that you're
so
too nervous.
too.
To,
So I don't think it
it's
was.
accepted. I think it's not that you're off the top of the dome. It's that you didn't know
You
what
can match
beat they
the
were gonna
beat.
give you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So right. Well, so I don't think it was like a full on actual freestyle, but it was presented as such. He went on some radio show and did a freestyle.
yeah, it wasn't bad though.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of fire.
I think he can
seeing
still
him
go.
do that made me wonder, like, how these other songs ended up the way that they did. Like, because that was actually really good, but I don't know.
It's a question. I think this is just like a nerdy rap thing. Do we compare that to other actors or other rappers? That's
Right.
how it comes down to whether or not it's fire for me. Because if you compare that to Russell, I think it's Park.
Yeah,
His is
Russell
great
Park.
because he's an actor.
Right.
Shia LaBeouf,
Yeah.
however you say his name,
Yeah.
not good till you realize it's fucking Shia LaBeouf. And you're like,
Yeah.
that was actually incredible. That was
Exactly.
8 straight minutes. Like, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
But
like the us of
to
staying
me,
smart
if you
thing.
then compare him to like Simba or some of these young guys who've like kind of perfected the art of freestyle, they change the beat every 30 seconds and they match their flow. It's like, all right, it was fine to me.
Yeah, had it not been Will Smith, I probably wouldn't have given it a second thought, but I wouldn't have been seeing it anyways, I guess.
But I guess that's the question then, though. Like, obviously he's more of an actor than a rapper, but how do you gauge that? Like, when you hear his song, are you like, damn, this rapper sucks, or man, that actor shouldn't have done that?
No, I hear you because, like, I could listen to Kiefer Sutherland's band live because there's Kiefer Sutherland, but, because I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, that's
but
cool.
Will Smith, he literally started as a famous
No,
rapper.
I know, but you do lose a step or the game
I
passes
know,
you
but
by.
I'm just saying it isn't exactly the same as like a vanity project for an actor generally,
know.
because he started in rap and had hits and was famous as a rapper.
He did.
Like a
Yeah, he did.
clean.
He's just
family
definitely
friendly
way
rapper,
more of a movie
but-
star than he is rapper.
Right.
know?
Are you guys aware of Steve from Stranger Things being a top billed headlining festival act at this point?
Like
What?
DJ.
No, he's
Which
like an
one's
indie
Steve?
sleaze.
Oh, he's the
Joe
Long-
Keery? You're saying Joe
Joe
Keery?
Keery. Yeah,
His
it looks
name,
like Adam
his
Scott.
name that he goes by when he sings is DJO, and I think you pronounce it Joe. So is that him?
I don't know.
I don't know.
You're telling me this for the
Steve
first
from
time.
Stranger Things' name is Joe Keery.
It is definitely
I did not know.
Steve. Corey was the one who was throwing me off. Is it this? I don't remember, but it's definitely whoever plays Steve. And when it first, like, I first heard that, I listened to the music and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And I didn't think, I wondered, did someone else produce it for him and he just sang on it? I don't know the answer to any of that. What happened to me 2 days ago was there's a new venue in Asheville called Asheville Yards.
Yeah.
And they hold quite a few people. So I wanted to see who they had coming up because I was thinking about going up there for my birthday. And I see this guy, Joe, and the other names are familiar to me. Like, they're big names. So I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And then I see he's headlining festivals, and then I figure out who he is. So I went and played some of the music. Not my thing, it's like I said, it's indie sleaze. I think is how you describe. It's like man, I don't listen to that stuff. So the only thing I got is like it's kind of like Father John Misty, but a little more pop. But apparently, people in that world are like, no, it's really, really, really good. And he was a musician before he ever acted, so
I did not
they're
know
at
that.
least making the attempt on the internet is to like give him his props.
His head very
No.
square.
Yeah,
is.
no, I didn't
And
know
big.
that. I had no idea he did music. I know, Idris Elba is like a big
DJ.
DJ, but is he a DJ
So Shaq.
like does he right?
Yeah, that's what I want to know too. Like, is he just standing up there and hitting, or is he actually,
Right.
making
What's
the
the
hits?
difference? What do you? Is there a different word for that? Like, is he a DJ? Like he's
Live
making
mixing.
his own shit.
Live mixing is what
There you go.
is the first level the purists are after. Now there's levels above that they're after too, and a lot of the people nowadays are the top ones. They like will play a synth keyboard while mixing, so they're literally making music while they mix their own
Right.
music. But you're expected to mix live.
That shit's
But
insane when you
what
see
does
it done
that
well.
mean? But what does that mean? Like, is Shaq combining two songs? Sure. Could I learn that in 5 months? Yes. So like, there's levels
Right.
to that too.
But so, like, what is Calvin Harris? Would you not also
Not
call him a
super
DJ?
familiar. I'm not super familiar with Calvin Harris.
I know
Give
that
me
He's
one
one.
like
song
he's
he
definitely one of
did.
the biggest ones
Yeah, he's huge.
on the planet. He's like I think he either dated or worked with or both Taylor Swift for a while years
Does
ago.
he
Like, he's
sing?
like he's A-list in that world for sure.
Yeah.
But he's up there with like David Guetta and
Yeah.
like Tiesto before
Is David
Tiesto
Guetta the one that
died.
dropped
No,
Let me-
Avicii died. Avicii, he's like on that level of
Well, let me
dude.
talk
But
about some that I
those
do
guys,
know.
are they DJs or are they something
Yeah,
different?
I think no, those are all DJs, the ones that I recognize. Let me tell you about someone I do know, John Summit. John Summit is a very popular DJ currently. He has people sing on his tracks, but he also, if he's the one I'm thinking of, sings. He'll play percussion live sometimes, and he'll play his keyboard. Odessa, who I love, is a band that has a DJ in the band live mixing on stage. Rufus Du Sol is Andy's favorite band. I've seen him live twice. The second time I saw him was one of the best shows I've ever seen. They're a band with a DJ who mixes live. So like that's kind of where that stuff, you know what I mean? It's like all evolving.
Hey, is David Guetta the dude that dropped the
Yes.
beat on the George
Yeah,
Floyd?
George
9/11.
Floyd. Yeah. Shout out to
Jesus.
his family. And then fucking yeah. But so like if you look up Calvin Harris on Wikipedia, it says Calvin Harris is a Scottish DJ, record producer, singer, and songwriter. Right. So I would just call him like he's like a famous DJ, but he like makes his songs and music. He uses
Yeah.
synths or whatever else, but he, and most of like Marshmello and fucking people and bass,
Nectar.
yes, but I was actually Dead Mouse and
Dead
all
Mouse.
those dudes. They like create music,
But
right?
they do from sample typically.
Okay,
You know what
but
I
is
just thought of?
Idris Elba doing more of a girl party thing where
Right.
it's just like mixing songs together into other things that hit?
I have no idea, but my guess is he's doing what they do, but in a way that's a lot simpler. Listen, I could be wrong, but what I would assume is it's like someone who joins a rock band, like in the vein of Billy Bob Thornton, and they know how to play 3 chords and sing, so they are the front man of that band, and they are actually playing guitar. But Andy could play those 3 chords, and well, she's better than me. I'll say I could probably do it. You know what I mean?
Trey, tell me your. We got to go, but tell me. No, wait, no, we don't. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Give me your pitch again. I can't remember exactly how it went for the Dead Mouse Mr. Butt crossover.
Oh, it was just Mr. Butt as just DJ Butt.
DJ Butt.
Who had a Dead Mouse style helmet, but in the shape of a butt,
And-
butt cheeks.
And
that
then
had a little fan thing in the middle where the butthole goes. That when the beat drops, he put in like baby powder shoots out of the butthole, like as the lights go off and the beat drops behind him.
if they had given us a show, I would have been DJ Butt in that sketch, and it would have been the most fun I've ever had in my life.
Well, where are you going to be
Yeah.
this week, Drew? Anywhere?
Yeah, I'm going to be in Knoxville July 25th, so that's in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be in Nashville the 2 days or 3 days after that, I think. I'll post it. I think I just got Chattanooga for the fall. I was trying to get it next year, and it looks like somebody dropped or something, so I'll be announcing Chattanooga soon.
Word, Trey.
If you listen to this when it comes out Wednesday, July 9th, tonight, come see me in Largo if you're in Los Angeles. And then this weekend I'll be in Tulsa. Then after that, San Diego, then Des Moines, Omaha, Kansas City, Indianapolis, St. Louis, and Austin, Texas. Not necessarily in that order, but that's the next spree of things coming up. So go to TraeCrowder.com and get tickets to come see me. Please, for the love of God, please.
Do it. CoreyRyanForster.com to tickets to see me in Lexington and Charlottesville, Virginia. And also, thank you all for listening to the WellRED Show. We'd love to stick around longer, but we got to go. Tune in next week if you've got nothing to do. Thank you. God bless you. Good night and skew.
Putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. We collected from our love of Downton Abbey. We collected, we found out we're both so fancy. Hey, what's the difference between rednecks and royal families? Only money, cause they both have sex with family. Ew. Putting on airs. What other rednecks to talk about foreign affairs? Laughing so hard that we end up falling out our chairs. Sir Trae, Sir Corey, oh what a pair. High class topics with a redneck flair, oh yeah. Two rednecks but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. Two rednecks but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. Okay, it's Team Squirrel or Team Trae. Oh yeah, we keeping it basic. He thinks that the squirrels at Corey's mom's house are racist. And you know squirrels live in the same place for generations. So Trae, you better count your days and you better count your blessings. Cause all the squirrels that you ran over, that you think are nameless, faceless, their families are getting together and plotting on you from the attic and basement. So even though Corey is dumb, fat, and bald, he knows how to avoid drama, don't get squirrels involved. Two rednecks, but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. Two rednecks, but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real